Good day, TCS Podcast listeners. This is Ila Vassallo from Tri-County Sustainability, the Sustainable Jersey hub for the 101 towns, 1.2 million residents, and 10 legislative districts across Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. Welcome to our policy podcast, where we converse with individuals who are shaping local and state policies and discuss the impetus for those policies and their potential impact on the TCS region and the state of New Jersey. In addition to policymakers, we invite change makers, citizens, nonprofit leaders, businessmen and women, and other individuals to help round out our discussions. All right, so here we go. Today, we welcome Senator Moriarty to this segment of the TCS Policy Podcast. Our subject today will be our right to repair. Senator Moriarty represents the 4th Legislative District, which includes towns in Atlantic, Camden, and Gloucester counties. The senator serves on the Law and Public Safety, Higher Education, and Labor committees. Welcome, Senator.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to talk with you about sustainability and the Fair Repair Act. So thank you for having me on your inaugural podcast. I'm very honored.
Okay, thank you. So getting right to it, you are sponsoring Bill S1723, known as the Fair Repair Act. It concerns repairs to certain consumer electronics. It was reintroduced in the Senate on January 9th and referred to the Senate Commerce Committee. Can you give us a brief overview of the bill?
Sure. It's a very simple bill. It's only a couple of pages, really. It's about people having access to the information to be able to repair their own equipment. So this would require that original equipment manufacturers, or OEMs as they're called, would be required to provide diagnostic, service, or repair documentation to both independent repair providers or equipment owners at no charge or in a timely manner. This has been an interest of mine for quite a while, not just in small electronics like cell phones and laptops and iPads and those types of things, but across a wide spectrum of different products. It started with cars. Cars have been made so complex with computers on board and so forth that the manufacturers were able to start saying, you have to go to your dealer to fix your car because we have proprietary information and we have the codes and the diagnostic equipment to find out what's wrong, and we're not going to share that with anyone else. So what happens? You end up with more and more independent car repair shops closing and less people being able to do the repairs, and then the costs of the repairs become sky high. And so when you have very few people that can do repairs, you are going to pay a lot more money. And so we had to fight car companies, and we were able to get them to sign a consent decree nationwide to provide these codes and this access so that people could repair their own cars, or independent car repair places could fix your cars, and they would have competitive pricing. And so we brought that to cars. We want to bring that also now to electronics.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. So you have already some knowledge under your belt with respect to how this went on with repairing cars. Was there any other considerations for this bill, for example, to reduce e-waste, maybe?
Well, I think that's a component of this because, part of this problem where people don't want to share information so that you can do some minor repairs is that they also want you to come to their facility, and then they're going to tell you that the repair is very expensive. So let's take, for an example, let's say you have a phone and the screen's all cracked and they tell you that if you go to some independent place and get the screen fixed and you didn't have them fix it, you'll void the warranty. That's a usual tactic. So you're going to void the warranty because you may not have the piece of equipment fixed correctly, and it may affect other parts of the let's say cell phone. And so you bring it to them because you don't want to void the warranty, even though you could get it repaired for, let's say, 25% of what they're charging. And they give you a very high price to repair, let's say, a damaged screen. So let's say they want $150 for the damaged screen. It also gives them an opportunity to say to you, well, could we interest you in a new phone? This is about 3 years old. We've updated it. There's more, power. There's more space in this, and it will only cost you like $20 more a month, and you can spread it over 3 years. And you got a spanking new phone, and you think about it, and you go, well, maybe. Why would I want to put $250 into that when I could put $250 into a new phone and spread it out over 3 years, let's say? And so you end up getting a new phone. And so we end up with a lot of electronic waste, and people just consuming more and not using things that are perfectly okay. They just need a new screen, let's say. So I think there's this, there's long been this idea of planned obsolescence in products, that manufacturers are making products that won't last long. Not like, when my parents were alive and they were making products that could last 40, 50 years, that they have a planned obsolescence to them so that they can get you to buy something else. Well, I understand their motivation, but it creates a lot of waste and a lot of stuff that ends up in trash heaps. And, you buy a refrigerator and it lasts 5 years instead of 50 years, and that ends up in a dump. They take up a lot of space. And it also means we have to produce a lot more parts on an ongoing basis to build the new stuff. So, e-waste is a problem, and planned obsolescence is a problem. We need to generate less waste. Every year, twice as many people are being born as people die. So the population of the world is just continuing to explode, and we need to create less junk, in my opinion.
Yes, I definitely agree with the planned obsolescence and understanding that you can repair some of these items on your own. And to that point, those listening and interested in finding out more about right to repair may want to consider reading a book called The Right to Repair by Aaron Perzanowski. And in this book, Mr. Perzanowski, among other things, makes a case for the social benefits of repairing our own things. And he says, when we diagnose and fix the things we own, we are reconfiguring our interactions with the world around us. At the same time, we are refining our understanding, developing new skills, and strengthening social ties within our communities. I'm curious, Senator, do you hear from constituents that know about and support this bill?
Yes, I've heard from many people that support this bill. And, people have come up to me and said, I'll use the cracked, piece of glass on a cell phone, for example, where they'll say, number one, they want me to bring it to an Apple store. So I have to go. There aren't Apple stores in every town. You have to go to an Apple store or send it to them. And then they want to charge like $150 to repair this. I could have gone to a kiosk at the mall and they would have repaired it for $50, but then I run the risk of voiding my warranty. What should I do? Now, the good news is that since we've started doing this bill in New Jersey, and other people around the country have started doing similar bills, Apple last year finally said that they would start providing the manuals and the information and the parts to people to do it themselves. So they have initiated that, but not all manufacturers have done this. So sometimes we start this process and we start talking about it at the local level and introducing bills, and it does spur action because a lot of these manufacturers do not want 50 states with 50 different laws. They would rather have one law. And so, as I said earlier, the example of the car manufacturers agreed to enter into this nationwide consent decree that kept them from having 50 different laws because everyone was starting to get into that issue as people found it harder and harder to get their cars fixed, at least for a competitive price. So I do hear from constituents, and constituents do reach out to these manufacturers and tell them how upset they are that they want to be able to do some of these things themselves. And it is having traction in the industry, at least with Apple.
Okay, excellent. And how about any response from the business community locally? Because this bill would impact local businesses, correct?
In some ways, I guess. I haven't really heard much from the business community locally. I have heard, though, from manufacturers of medical equipment. So there are a lot of people that manufacture medical equipment that's used in hospitals or medical settings, and they're afraid that this bill might be widely interpreted to include things like heart monitors and CAT scans and MRIs and things like that. So we do plan on amending the bill to make it clear that those types of things would not be included in the bill, because we kind of understand that you don't want someone fixing their own CAT scan or MRI or an important heart monitor. That's a little bit more important than someone's cell phone, I guess.
Okay, definitely. And so we touched on a little bit about this legislation, right to repair across the United States, and there is a website, repair.org, that dedicates an entire page to tracking right to repair legislation in each of the United States. And as of March 2024, 5 states in the United States have right to repair laws on the books, and they include California, Colorado, Minnesota, Massachusetts, and Oregon. And there are well over a dozen states that have right to repair legislation that is pending, as in New Jersey. I think you kind of talked about this, but where did you draw your inspiration or the legislative outline for this bill? And have you researched other states that have this legislation already?
Yeah, I have researched Massachusetts, which is actually the state where I was born and grew up. So I look to Massachusetts quite often. They have a very interesting legislature that is very progressive on these types of matters. I think they've done a good job with that, and we partnered with them on the auto portion because they were the leaders on that. So we've looked to them and other states, as you mentioned, California, Minnesota, Colorado. We've looked at what they've done. We're probably going to take what Massachusetts did in terms of allowing medical devices to be exempt from this, and they have some wording that we'll probably take into this bill as well. And also, I just read a lot of consumer magazines, newsletters. I was a consumer reporter in Philadelphia on television for, 22 years. So I kind of feel like that's my mission. I've been a consumer advocate for a long time, so I follow these issues quite closely and read a lot about them. And that's what got me to initially start on this piece of legislation.
Do you know what the timeline for the bill is, or if it's a priority for the committee?
Well, this would be in the I believe the Commerce Committee. I don't know if you know, but I'm new to the New Jersey Senate. I just started in January. I was an assemblyman for 18 years before that. And when I was in the assembly, I was the chairman of the Consumer Affairs Committee. So I could just put any bill I wanted up for a vote on that committee since I chaired the committee. Now I'm a junior senator in the Senate, so I don't chair that Commerce Committee, and I have to I believe we sent a letter asking for it to be posted in the committee, and it will be up to the chair to decide. I will have a conversation with her, hopefully, and maybe we could get it up for a vote before June.
Oh, very nice. Okay. And I know that there is another bill, Bill A3809, that seems to complement this bill. It's the right to repair farm equipment and lawnmowers. So, and they seem to be somewhat similar in how they describe the right to repair. Is that true?
I believe so. That is my partner here in the 4th Legislative District,
Right.
Assemblyman Cody Miller, who just took office in January, and he introduced that bill. And look, it's the same issue that we had with personal automobiles. The same issue. These commercial farm equipment manufacturers want to keep hold of all of the technology and the manuals and the parts, and they want all of that for themselves because they want you to come back to them to get the repairs. And the people that purchase these products, and farm equipment is not cheap, by the way, they want the right to have other people be able to repair it because there's competition. They feel that they can get things fixed for less money. So it's an ongoing fight between manufacturers who say, on the one hand, our products and our manuals have proprietary information, we can't let you have it. And then consumer advocates that say, you are unfairly cornering the market and driving up the cost to repair things, and we can do things cheaper, or we can do them ourselves.
Right.
So this will always be a push-pull between manufacturers and end users, and it all comes down to cost, right? But it also comes down to sustainability, because again, if you make something so expensive to fix, you often use that as a tool to get someone to buy something new, and then that piece of farm equipment is like out in the field, off to the side, maybe used for scrap parts, and my God, in New Jersey, especially in South Jersey, we have lots of farm equipment and old cars sitting in people's backyards.
Yeah. And I'm assuming too, with farm equipment, you want to be able to repair that quite quickly, if you're going to be doing harvesting or working on the field or anything like that. So you need to have that
Absolutely.
availability.
You have downtime with key equipment on a farm. That's your livelihood.
Yep. So ironically, as I was preparing for this interview, the right hinge on my PC, which connects the base of the PC to the screen, it started loosening, and it's gotten so bad that I no longer close my laptop. So because I've been preparing for this interview, I did two things that I probably normally wouldn't do. The first thing was to hop onto ifixit.com. I described my problem and asked my question. And I also tried to search the manufacturer website of my PC and see if I could find information on how I fix this. Within a day, I received a response from ifixit.com. An individual responded to my question, pointed me to my PC's maintenance and service guide, the page number that I should consult to try to fix the problem, and how to order certain parts if I needed to. I haven't had the courage to actually go in and try this because it requires me opening up my PC, but I have the knowledge if I need it. But I wanted to ask you, are you aware of the cafes and clinics that are popping up throughout the state and the country? Have you ever attended one? And do you personally have a knack or interest in repairing any items?
I am aware of all of these clinics and repair cafes popping up, and I think it's great. I think lots of people are finding out how to fix things, or they don't understand what's going on with their computer or their phone, and they go on there and they ask these forums and these cafes, and people share and they help people. I have used them countless times when I've had something go wrong with my phone or my computer, and I go on there and I ask a question, and other people have had that problem, and many people give, answers as to what they did to fix it, and that has helped me because uh, you go on some of the websites of the actual manufacturers, they don't have these kinds of forums. So I have found it very helpful. I've never attended a fix-it clinic. And I don't really think I have a great knack for this, but I can tell you that on my laptop that I'm talking to you on right now, I wanted to add more memory to this laptop. And so I asked a friend of mine that knows more about this stuff, and he said, "Oh, that's real easy. You can do it yourself, Paul. Just go to the store and buy this." He sent me a picture of what to buy. I went and I bought this added memory, and he said, "Just follow this, video on YouTube, and you'll be able to do it." And that's what I did. And I actually replaced my own memory. I opened the back of my computer, and I didn't damage it, and I fixed it, and I added more memory. So it was very easy to do. And I don't know what the actual memory cards or whatever they're called, I don't know what they cost, but it wasn't that expensive. But if I had had someone do that, but go somewhere and have them, you know, give me the memory cards and put it in, I'm sure it would have been like a $200, procedure. I think as it was like I don't know, $35.
That's wonderful. So you are actually an example of why this bill is so important. So I thank you so much, Senator, for your time today and all the information that you provided. We really look forward to following the progress of your Fair Repair Act bill in the New Jersey legislature, and I will give you closing remarks if you'd like.
Well, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you and the people that are in your organization for what they do. We need to continue to educate people more, and we need to be sustainable. We need to produce less and be able to have the things that we have go further. Because, as I said, the population continues to grow. There's more and more people producing more and more waste. Where are we going to send all this waste? So we have to think about that. So I applaud you and the people listening to this that have an interest in sustainability. And I look forward to speaking with you again sometime. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you so much.